Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. Often people talk about their best self. What about if we think about that in connection with humanity? Do you think humanity is living its best self? I don't think so. The thing we've all got to realize is that in life we have the opportunity to change. We have free will. We can do as we please, but too often we don't. We do what everyone else is doing. We do what we've been programmed to do. And I say that in the sense of schooling and the system and TV and peer pressure. The biggest thing is peer pressure from the media, peer pressure from government, peer pressure from all those that want the same system to keep continuing. When you see the news media of people suffering and talking about cholera and things like that, and that people could die of these diseases, and they full well know, like we all do, that there's already medical breakthroughs for these things, but of course it won't be given to these people because their government don't have the money, or they can't pay for it, or the pharmaceutical companies are too expensive to sell these products to them, because everything is done by money. One of the biggest problems on this place that we live is money, because nothing can be done without money. Even the pandemic that we're in now, COVID-19, pharmaceutical companies are being given billions of pounds around the world to make pharmaceutical products to then be sold again to the same people who gave the money. And I'm sure there'll be countries around the world that will have to go in debt. They'll have to borrow money to be able to get these things and be in this perpetual debt like most of Africa is with the West. Even though it seems like the West is giving money to Africa and places like that. But what they don't realise is all the debt that they're in, and that they're never going to get out of this problem. That's what I mean. We as humanity can do so much better. We already can see that. If we go to, I don't know what anyone would consider the most, I was going to say technological country, but that's probably not the measure of self-humanity. It would be, where individuals live the best. What is that country? I suppose most people would just pick out America, or the West, if you want to call it like that, where you have running water, where everyone has the warmth and house and food and medicines and all that. And I know there's money connected to all those things, but if you take that away and look at the actual lifestyle, whereas you've got countries where people, they were showing on the news, Syria, a camp where people are meant to be, surviving, and it's like a shanty town. No disrespect to shanty towns, but that's the terminology that people use to describe that kind of condition. So when you think about that, well, why is that? Why is there a place on this on where we live where there's different equalities? How do we square that off? We square that off by saying, well, it's not our government doing it, and that's because they don't look after their own people and they're spending their money on weapons and etc. and fighting. But that's not really an excuse, is it? Because we're all one human being, just separated by conventions and human constructs of borders and country names and etc. Not remembering that we don't know why we're here. We're on a place that we've made up all the names of the things around us: trees, lions, zebras, snow, all these conditions that happen, all these creatures, even ourselves. We've created the names for all these things, unless they're God divine. And we fooled ourselves into believing that we know everything, whereas we don't. We know very little. We've just convinced ourselves by giving things labels, and that makes us feel better that, now I know that's a lion, but I don't really know what it is. I just woke up one day and found it there and gave it a name. as if that makes us more understanding of ourselves and our surroundings, but it doesn't. But what I'm trying to say is this, when people say the best self and look at humanity, it's not. Whilst there's still suffering in the world, still inequality, but why? Because we have the capacity to change, we have free will, but we just want to be stuck in the same hamster wheel going round and round and round, and we're all content to do that. And when anyone tries to break free, they get put down. You see that with lots of things happening on the news media, with when someone questions something. Oh my God, how dare you question something? How dare you have a different thought than everyone else? Thought crime is something that is coming. It's already there, but it's going to be much worse in the future. you know. But that's where peer pressure comes in. This peer pressure of you must think like everyone else, and the way we're all taught to think is the right way. It's right that we live in a country where if another person somewhere else is dying but we could do something about it, it's not we don't have to worry about it. To me, it seems naive. And I'm sure in thousands of years they're going to look back on us the way that we look back on those people that used to treat headaches with drilling a hole in your head. That's how they're going to look back on us, that we were barbarians, that we allowed people to die because we wanted money for things. I was watching this David Attenborough program on Netflix. No, it was BBC iPlayer. Perfect Planet, and it was showing about ants. They go out in the desert and they get this beetle, and how they all work together. And I was thinking about how most animals do that. They all, a lot of animals work in packs. They work together. They don't need any concept of money. They do it because that's survival. Because working together is a better outcome. And I feel that is an actual natural behaviour, even within humanity. It's just we've been out-taught it by being taught to be a singular person, be a family, be a unit. We've been bred out our humanity, as it were, through teaching us to live a different way. So when people say, no, we couldn't live without money, we couldn't live without system and the structure, I don't believe that's true. I think, there might be some people, but I think the reason why most people don't help each other out is because the way they're taught about fairy tales, about presents, about possessions, when there's no such thing. When you, like John Lennon said, when you die you don't take anything with you, and that's true. These things are all trinkets, and we've been made to value them more than each other, through little small things. And this a lot comes into teaching and television, with the idea of Christmas. All these things seem harmless, and yeah, it is a story and it is harmless and it's a great thing. But the thing is, it teaches us, especially like with birthdays, and maybe that's why religious people don't put too much on them, or some don't, is that it creates that idea of you being more special than the other person, about you getting something and it's yours. And those little things that seem harmless are probably the reason why we are so selfish. We don't own anything. We don't even own the place that we walk upon. We don't even know why we're here, or even if it's ours. But it's all of ours equally, or none of ours equally. But to create borders and to say, this is my bit of land, there's no such thing. But most people don't see that, and so their truth is that countries are countries, and we all live separated, and we all have to have different governments and different systems, and we have to worry about ourselves and help out where we can. Whereas not realizing you're living a lie. The lie is that we're all one being, we're all human beings, and all these constructs are not reality. We need to see, like that ant, that we work together, That it doesn't matter who owns what. Yeah, and I know within nature there are things where there is possession and stuff like that, and whatever, but I think the thing I'm trying to say is that we have the ability to change. Surely everyone agrees on that. And if you agree upon that, and then look at that, there's even one person still suffering and not equal to everyone else, not living the same existence, not living within a house with warmth, with good health, and all the things that we all should be able to do now. Are we going to wait 1,000 years for that? Why? Because it will come eventually. There will be a time when people will understand that the system that we live within is not the best system, and we need to make a change. There may need to be some, like H.G. Wells said, some cataclysmic event and to reduce us, to make us restart again, and then not build the same shit story again. But if you all understand that we all have the ability to change, and if you all understand that the world that we live in is not fair and not equal, and there's children dying and people suffering and not living a good life, then why are we allowing that to continue? That's not a conspiracy theory, is it? Isn't that just truth and reality? That we're part of the problem. We're allowing it to, by keep being under this false idea that there is democracy, and you know, the democracy of that you can vote this old person or you can vote this old person, and that's democracy, and you believe that you have choice. They probably went to the same school together, they probably have the same ideals, just slight variants, but none of them will solve the problem of the inequality of humanity, of us not living our best self. Anyway, that's something to think about. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.